Hey, what's going down, everybody? It's your boy, Mr. Soul Effect, Rashad Ali for the RB Talk Show. The guest right here don't need no introduction. He's a Grammy Award winner. He's a multi-platinum record R&B group artist. I know you guys done seen 112 exploded 96, 97 with Cupid, Only You. Was like the remix. Their music videos dominated BET, VH1, MTV, to be one of the top young groups. They probably one of the top only groups to win a Grammy in the 90s. I can't think of nobody else. Usually takes a couple albums to get there, but for them to especially at the beginning of their career. So, ladies and gentlemen, Michael Keith for 112. What's going on, brother?
What's going on with you, brother? Hey, thanks for that intro, bro. Like I felt nostalgic for a second.
Man, I'm gonna tell you something, man. I remember going to school and it being my neighborhood, it was always like an R&B party,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
like your group's music. They would do this, made a comeback with home again. It was y'all. It was like 702. Man, it was like between R&B and hip hop, man. Y'all stayed in rotation, man, on my block, man. I think we went maybe like 10 times platinum, man. Let's see y'all music.
Hey, but you know what? I'm glad you brought that up versus like me or another artist were, because anytime that we bring up how dope the 90s were, everybody always think we're being biased and things of that nature, man. But honestly, the 90s, like if you do your homework, man, the 90s just was so influential and not taken away from the 80s and the 70s, the 60s, the 50s, and so forth and so on, man. But that 90s was just different, man. The energy was different. We were able to be more vocal about a lot of the things that we felt about, and we could sing about different stuff. And yeah, we still R&B wise, you still spoke about love and things of that nature, but we were able to do it in a different way, man. And it's just that era was just so amazing, and I don't think it'll ever be replicated again.
Absolutely. 'Cause that's how it is. Like, no offense to like certain podcasters and YouTube that does podcasts. It's like, some people be kind of clueless. I'm like, now you was alive when when the area was hot. What I'm saying? So
Right.
I'm like, come
Like
on, man. Like,
I was freaking there, man. Like I was totally there. But like, you don't know, you don't know what you're talking about. Like, bro, I was there, you know?
like I got no twin brother, man. Like, what y'all
Yeah,
mean?
man. Like I think I know what I'm talking about. So,
Yeah. Cause yeah, man, I tell you, man, just that era of the 90s, man, everybody had a hit. Everybody went platinum or gold or multi-platinum and stuff. And
yeah,
man,
man.
I
It
tell
was
you,
so
man, it's like
competitive. It was
man,
super
30
competitive.
years, man. You
Yeah,
know,
man. It was yes, sir. 30 years, man. And the life expectancy of an artist, especially back then, was like 4 years. So that's like an album and a half. So really, they want to see your. Here's the thing: a lot of people don't understand. Your second album is what determines whether or not you're going to are you considered a one hit wonder, or you really have a career in the music business. It's that second album, and I'm gonna be honest with you. Room 112. A lot of people remember Room 112 is as a classic, but it didn't start out that way, because the first single, although people love me, it didn't really take off the way that Only You did and the way that Come See Me did. And so people were anticipating that, man. So we had to hurry up and put out Anywhere. But once we put Anywhere out, we were back on that trajectory, and then it took off. But like we thought that we were gonna have that sophomore jinx for a second, man. And then once we regrouped, and once we realized that there was no such thing as sophomore jinx, and we weren't gonna accept that, and we just went straight for that Anywhere. And we said, bro, we got to do the most artistic, beautiful, but ratchet video that we possibly can.
yeah.
Yeah. And once we did that, bro, like we was back on that trajectory of being those dudes again.
Yeah, cause man, that song anyway, I'm about to get to that song in the future, boy. I tell you, man, a whole lot of young men women got a lot of trouble, man, because of that song, man. And
Man, that
this
song was tough.
before even social media was even a social media thing. Yeah, there was certain girls, teenagers like 18, 19, 17 years old, trying to mimic what a female's doing in y'all video.
Yeah,
The
man. I'm
fellas,
like,
I'm
bro,
like, come
what are y'all doing? Like, what are you talking about? But all right, cool. That's what you're gonna do. Let's do it. But yeah, man. But it was that was a fun video. Big shout out to Lil Zane. Because he was definitely in on the man. That video, we really had strippers. They were real strippers in that video. Fun fact. They were from this strip club in Miami called Rolex. And big shout out to Rolex. And we use them. The girls are like, yo, the women. I apologize. The women in the video were like, yo, like I gotta hurry up. Like, why you leaving? Like we trying to party or whatever. Like, nah, I gotta go to work. I said, where you work? At Rolex. Oh my God, you really are stripper. Like it was fun, man. We had a really good time. So here's a fun fact. Anywhere, actually, we submitted it to Usher. And Usher and his people, they turned the record down. And we were like, well, we putting the album together. Let's do it. And that's how Anywhere got on the second album. Because the people turned it down.
Wow, man. Yeah, that's somebody that's brand new to me right there, man.
Yeah, man.
Oh man. So I want to start from the very beginning, like your upbringing.
Okay.
Growing up as a child, who was your musical inspiration as a kid?
Honestly, my mother. She was like, as a child growing up, my mother was like, because my mother can sing. My whole mother side of the family can sing. Like they don't, they don't want a career in the music business. They left that up to me. But that's where I got the gift from, and that's where my appreciation for love came from. That was my first musical influence. My second one was my grandmother. She introduced me to Donny Hathaway music. So one day we were at her house and she gave me this CD, and it was Donny Hathaway's Greatest Hits. And you know the one where it's like a cartoon drawing of him, and he got a microphone in his hand and whatever.
Yeah.
And he got the hat. Yeah. So that was the first time that I heard someone, because my voice is similar to his, and I was trying to figure out who I sound like, because it wasn't my grandmother's favorite artist was Sam Cooke. And I sound like him in certain areas, but I don't sound, my voice is a little too heavy for that. So, I was like, man, I just want to find somebody that I sound similar to, so I can emulate, because, I'm such a fan of the music that came before me and whatnot. And my grandmother, she found that CD, she gave me the CD rather, and I found that voice, man. I was like, bro, this is him. This is the guy that I have been looking for or whatever. And I knew the music, I just didn't know who it was. So that was my second influence. My third one was my music teacher, Miss Fawcett. She gave me the knowledge to know that I could sing more than just R&B. So for those that don't know, I'm classically trained, meaning I sang opera in high school for like 4 years straight. So was winning competitions left and right. I like sing all those Italian records with Tre giorni sono che Nina, all the different languages and whatnot, bro. So I was in that, and I didn't want to do it at first, but she saw potential, and she saw that I had a love for it eventually, and whether I knew it or not, and I thank God for her, because like she's gone away, like rest in peace now. But yeah, she saw something in me that I didn't see in myself at the time, and I'm forever grateful that she was as hard as she was on me, that she took out the time and out of her schedule after school and basically made me do it. It's in the beginning. But I grew to appreciate it and grew to love it, and especially when I started winning, I'm like, hell yeah. And so, winning felt good, bro. So I just wanted to keep that going and continue that going, man. So I was really, just happy once everything had started. Hold on one second, bro.
Oh, you good?
Yeah. So yeah, I was just really grateful for her, giving me that gift, man, because she didn't have to do what she did. But that's
Yeah,
a kid growing up.
ain't no like a mother, man. Mother's love, man, because especially when God reveals to them, okay, like this is what you should do with your son, and then especially as a kid, you got the so-called friends out there, man.
Absolutely.
Once you get to dangerous activities, oh man, hey man, like that girl City, yeah, man, let's go after her and a friend, try to get some stupid activities.
Absolutely, cool, bro. Absolutely. I want to, and speaking on that, I want to give a shout out to like the I mean, I ain't no other way to say it. The hood niggas that were growing up, I grew up around or whatever, man, because when I didn't feel like the music career was going to take off, I started hanging out with, in that street element, and they refused to let me do it. I was like, man, I ain't, I'm getting ready to graduate high school. I don't know what I'm gonna do, man. Like, those scholarships ain't coming like I wanted to, man. And I need some money, man. This, that, and the third, yada yada yada. Let me get in these streets. And they just were like, bro, if you don't get your ass out of these streets right now and go pursue your career, go pursue your gift. We gonna beat you. We gonna beat you. Where, and that was, that was the influence in the proverbial kick in the ass that I needed in order to realize, man, that life wasn't for me, and it made me want to go harder as a musician, man. So I'm grateful for them as well, because I at one point I really did want to get into that street life, man, but that's no kind of life at all, bro.
Yeah, because who wants to go through all that, man, get locked up, then they got you in handcuffs, 9 o'clock, and boy, you plead guilty, not guilty. They
Yeah,
got the mom of
man.
your people in the background, like, come on, man, damn, nigga, again.
Yeah, man.
So,
In behind them bars talking about, man, I used to sing. Man, get your ass over there, bro.
whew, you ain't lying, man. I tell you, man, it's one thing stuff is out of our control when we had nothing to do
Yes,
with
sir.
it. Then it's
Yes, sir.
another thing, when you actually entertaining it,
Yes, sir.
saying
Yes, sir.
that's the sad part about that. How did the formation of 112 came together?
Oh, okay. So actually, I'm the guy that put everybody in the group. So
Okay.
that's how that all came together. Initially, it started out as a 5-man group, and but 2 older guys. So the core was myself, Deron, and Slim, and then 2 other guys, Reggie and Al. They formed the beginning, i.e., Forte, and which was an acronym for Forever en Route to Excellence. So we that's what started the genesis of 112. That Al and Reggie were like really older than everybody else. They were seniors, and I think one was a junior, and the other was a senior. And so once we realized that it was going to take a minute for us to get a deal, the group started to like break up a little bit, man. It started to separate, where Slim, myself, and Deron was still trying to get after it. Reggie and Al, and God bless them, man. It's just, the timing was off, man. Like they were older, and they just had to go get money, man. So, I couldn't do nothing but respect that. But, they decided to go in a different route. And we just kept it moving. We had our slow moments. It wasn't like immediately after they left, we became 112, but we actually had to put some grind in, man, and we started singing in Deron's church. And we were like, bro, we got to get some music somewhere. We got to keep this thing going, man. Like, because we worked too hard. We were winning too many talent shows in Atlanta. We were getting the buzz. Everybody knew about this group called Forte in Atlanta, and we didn't want to let that go. And although the other 2 guys decided to, make business decisions, and rightfully so. But that the group that's how the group started. And then once we felt like we wanted to be, instead of being like more like a Take 6, we wanted to be more like a Boys to Men kind of deal, where we at least wanted to have 4 members in the group. And so that's when I approached Q Parker and asked him to be in the group. And because he would always tell him, man, whenever y'all need me, whenever y'all need me, whenever y'all need me. And then I was like, all right, bro, we need you. So what's happening? And at first he was, because he was an athlete, he had his obligations to play ball and things of that nature, but he eventually came on in, and the rest is history, man. But that's how the group started. So the original members of the group, myself, Deron, and Slim, along with Reggie and Al, and then when they left, we wanted to add another piece, and that was Q Parker. So he came in on the tail end of it.
Well, because I can imagine though, put the work in, say like, especially though you rehearsing, say how to command the stage,
Yes, sir.
say go through your vocals. I can imagine the hours you guys would put the sweat in, man, say just in case somebody was trying to get y'all. Now I want to ask y'all this. Was y'all writing like demo songs, around that time?
Yes, sir. We were. It's another thing that people don't realize is 112 was also not only artists on Bad Boy, but we were signed as songwriters too. So we had separate deals as far as songwriting and things of that nature, and then we was also artists. So we wrote for many people, man, like Gina Thompson, her first single, "The Things You Do Makes
Okay.
Me Keep Right." We wrote that. Matter of fact, you can still hear our vocals in there. New Edition, "You Don't Have to Worry." We wrote that. "I know that things ain't right. Seems like
That's a
all I
banger.
do is right." Yeah, if you listen to it, you can still hear Slim's voice in there. And so
Wow.
so it was so we wrote some records. Keisha Cole, "I Should Have Cheated." Um, yeah, it's some records. It's some records out there, man. I'm not, I'm forgetting, a lot of them, man. But we were songwriters as well. So Tim and Bob gave us that gift, and big shout out to them, man, because they were the ones that showed us. Y'all are just writing songs right now, but we're going to show y'all the structure. We're going to actually show you how to create a song, a verse, a B section, a hook, a bridge, and a vamp out. We're going to actually show you how to make a song. So we credit them to, well, I know I credit them as far as the guys that showed us how to make a song. Like, we thought we knew what we were doing. We didn't really know what we were doing, man. And Tim and Bob showed us the way, man. And it was just an awesome experience. And because they took the time out. And at the time, these dudes were working with Boys to Men. So of course we were getting some of that Boys to Men energy as well. And it just so happens that they were working with Boys to Men at the time when we were in the studio with them at DARP in Atlanta. We walked in, we seen Boys to Men, we fanned out, and a year later, Wanye ended up writing "Now That We're Done" and "Can I Touch You" for that first album, man. And so it's crazy how things are full circle like that.
Wow, man. Hey, that's a great backstory right there, man. You know what I'm
Yes, sir.
saying?
Yes, sir.
Dude. Now, did you fellas change the name before you got signed, or that came after you guys got signed? If I tell you got signed to Bad Boy Records.
We changed it before because that was a rapper named Rapping Forte.
Oh wow.
That was already out at the time on the West Coast, and we didn't want to confuse Forte with Rapping Forte. Like, we didn't want to confuse the two. So we just wanted to, just make sure that we had our own name, we had our own identity, and there was no controversy initially. Like, bro, it's bad enough that we on we're our first R&B group on Bad Boy, so we gotta shoulder that burden as well. But on top of that, we just didn't want to have any, we wanted it to be as smooth as we possibly could. So we threw some names out, and what kept coming back to us was like 112, because if back then, if you came to Atlanta, you would always go to Lenox Mall or you would go to 112. Everybody knew that those were the places to go. And 112 the club 112 used to be wrapped around the corner as far as like people waiting to get inside the club and whatnot. So it was a staple. And we wanted people to know that we were from Atlanta. We were not from New York. Although I got the utmost love for New York, and we feel like that's our second home, and as far as musically, New York raised us. But our roots and where we were born and raised were from Atlanta. And we wanted the world to know that we were from Atlanta. It didn't work. People still thought that we was from New York. They like, they from 112. And so it didn't work. But we just kept pushing the fact that 112 is the club 112 is synonymous with Atlanta. So that's where and that's where we met Puff. The first time we actually sang for him. So it was just it seemed like it was a calling for us, man. So we was just like, yo, we're gonna be 112, and the rest is history with that.
When by the time you guys did a photo shoot and stuff, who picked the main album cover? Was that like the label's Puff's decision, or that was y'all decision?
That was more the label. That first album, bro, we just pretty much listened to what everybody had to say because we didn't know what we were doing. You know what I mean? Like, we had ideas and we had concepts and stuff, man. But at the end of the day, it was a combination of, we had our input, but the label essentially knew that we didn't know what we was doing. So they were like, yo, just follow our lead on this. When y'all get y'all feet wet and y'all understand what it means, who 112 is, then y'all can start telling us what y'all want to wear and how you want to do it, and your personalities will start showing and things of that nature. But for the first album, bro, we did whatever they told us to do pretty much, because we were just glad to be there, man. Like, I'm gonna be, keeping a buck with you. We were just so glad to be there. Like, put this white suit on, bet. You know what I mean? So yes, sir, boss. Like, that's what it was. But that white outfit, it was. If you look at our discography and you look at our visuals from the beginning to where we are now, you can see the evolution. You could tell, like, oh, okay, that's when the boys started having sex on the regular on their second album right now. Like they spilling
Man,
themselves on that third album right now, man, because you know they got a swag about them now. But like that first album, man, we were just so happy to be there, bro. We look like church boys, and because we were church boys at the time, man. You know, we
yeah,
just coming straight from the church or whatever. So they wanted us to be synonymous with that. So we had the white suits on, and it was the contradiction of what Bad Boy was, which was everybody was in black leather and you know just street and hard and all this other stuff, man. And here's 112 coming out, you know, with this all white on, looking like you know they had just got out of church and whatnot. So, but that was it wasn't a gimmick, but it definitely played a major role in how we were perceived initially, and it was cool. You know, we accepted it. You know, we knew that wasn't just that was one facet of us, but it wasn't like the totality of who we were. But we were glad for it. You know, hey man, listen, whatever's gonna work, man, let's do it. And so yeah, white suits. Y'all want us to put up? I bet white suits it is. And yeah, so that's how we did it, man. So you know, we're happy for that.
yeah. I remember when the debut single "Only You" came out, and I'll never forget debut on BT. That's when we still had video show at the time and stuff. And then I remember looking at you guys always had like the similar leather jackets and stuff with different designs on and everything.
Yep.
And
Big shout
Biggie
out to
did his
Van.
rap verse.
Yep.
Yeah. And I felt it as a teenager. I was like 15 at the time. And I was like, man, somebody's group is different, man. You know what I'm saying? Because it
Yes,
felt
sir.
like y'all was here before. You know, that was y'all debut and stuff. And RIP to Biggie, you know, who gave y'all that assist. You guys did a slam dunk, you know what I'm
Yes,
saying?
sir.
On
Yes,
that.
sir. Yes, sir.
What was it like? It's one thing y'all recorded a song with him, but just to shoot a video with him. Here he was coming off of Ready to Die, get ready to do his second album, and he had Julia Mafia and all that. So what was kind of the thought process you had as teenagers? Well, as far as young men that time.
Man, it was surreal, bro. It was like you said, man, like it was the notorious B.I.G. Like, yeah, we knew it. We knew, you know, him as Christopher Wallace, but you know, he was also big, and he was already blowing up before we even got to New York. And so just his presence and you know his album and the success of it and just him being just this dude in New York and worldwide actually, it was just an amazing feeling, man, to just for this dude because he did initially. I don't think he wanted to do it initially because you know he had this hardcore street gangster image, and then here come these four choir boys, you know, like wanting him to sing on the record and whatnot. But he eventually, once he heard the record, once he heard the remix, actually he was like, "Yo, I got to jump on this record, man," and he blessed us. You know what I mean? So it was an amazing feeling to know that this dude had stamped us because he hadn't really done any features with R&B artists at that time like that.
Yeah.
So for him to you know to jump on our record like that, we that was a blessing, bro. Like this dude will never ever understand how that affected us positively. You know what I mean? It was just
Yeah.
it was a great time just to be because and then to go back to what you were saying as far as like the leather jackets and like it was such a responsibility on our end to keep that momentum going as far as being at the height of fashion, being at the height of music and because you know we had a lot to live up to. Like Big and Craig Mack basically set the tone for Bad Boy at that point, right? So we had to just follow suit, man, and just when it was our turn, just make sure that we didn't drop the ball. And so that was, you know, that was our responsibility, and we stepped up, and I feel like we kept it going, and we were successful.
Yeah. By the time, you know, like the song that took off on the Billboard charts and everything, you know,
Uh-huh.
what was your family response, you know, when they saw your face, you know, video? I could just imagine, you know, what was they thinking? Like, oh my God, you know, I can't believe, you know, he's actually on TV and stuff like that.
Um, Everybody was from what I was told and the energy that I've always, you know, received from people. It was always positive. It was always, you know, we knew you guys had it. It was only a matter of time. You know, it's because you know my philosophy in life is, bro, like if you work hard at something, there's no way you can't be successful at it. You feel me?
Yeah.
So that was you know our mentality, meaning we couldn't give up at that point, man. We had too many people that depended on us, too many people that had prayed for us, too many people that knew that it wasn't a matter of if it happens, it was when it happened, as long as we were believing in ourselves and believing in the Most High. And so it wasn't a surprise to anybody, because we knew that as long as we put the work in, we were going to be successful. We were going to, at the very least, put an album out. We could say, man, we put an album out. But we knew that was going to happen. But we wanted more, and we pushed for more. And with that family support and people just being positive, and the response that we got, man, it was just it just solidified our thinking as far as like, we know what we're doing. It's like, all right, you know what? We actually can make some noise in this thing, man. So we're on the right track. We're on the right path, man. So let's keep this thing going. But yeah, it was definitely positive, bro. Always positive.
For you, for yourself, besides the fellas, to perform on BET, man.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And then was like with T Summit, yeah, Showtime Paulo. You had Soul Train, all these other shows. It's like one thing looking as a kid to actually be on stage. Was that kind of like a reality? Like, oh my God, I'm actually on the place. I used to watch some of this as a child.
Bro, it's still it's still mind blowing to me, bro, because all of these places, like, so once you get in the music industry, you start to get a feel for what is what. And one thing that we realize is that we love performing in these historic theaters and these different places, like the Greek in LA, or the Apollo in New York, or what's the one in Detroit? Like that's my favorite. Not the park, the outside park, but the actual theater, Fox Theater. Yeah, man, it's the Fox Theater in Atlanta. It's one of those, and y'all correct me if I'm wrong about that Detroit guy. I think it's Fox, but it could be something else. But those historic places, man, those are places that you grow up hearing about, and then when you actually see it and you actually experience it, bro, you can feel the souls in that thing, man. Like, we actually performed at the same theater that Eddie Murphy did Delirious in DC.
Wow.
Yeah, man. And you want to talk about mind being blown, bro. It's like, it was just amazing, bro. It's just to be just on that stage, man. And because my brother and I used to watch Delirious like religiously. We come home from school and we'll pop Delirious in, look at the whole thing, remember the words like line by line, and then go back and watch it again. You know what I mean? So and then to realize, we were on the stage, and this was years ago, man. It was almost like, I want to say about the first time that we actually did the theater, in DC. And one of the people that was working there was like, yeah, man, Delirious was filmed here. I said, get out, this does look familiar, because it still looks like the same theater and whatnot.
Wow.
And so we went in there, bro, and you could just feel it, man. Like, you can just feel the energy. You can feel the souls that's passed through those doors and stuff, man. And it just feels like a validation, if you will. Like, it just feels like, we're supposed to be here. But we paid our dues, and those are some of the benefits, man. But I think that's one of the major things that was surreal to me, just knowing that we're performing on some of the stages that artists such like James Brown, and what I mean, it's just that type of energy, bro. Like we're on the same stages as the greats. So I don't know about you, man, but that inspired me, bro. Like, and that made me want to go even harder. So that was something really big for me. So that was a highlight. That was something that I definitely, and to this day, like, we still haven't hit every theater, that we want to hit, but yeah, awesome. It's an awesome thing.
I remember the song Cupid, was that kid played like religiously crazy, man.
Mm-hmm.
I swear, man. And I was looking at one of the interviews, and I think your boy Slim said it was, like you guys were trying to get Babyface. I think he turned it down, or something going on that he couldn't make it through and stuff.
Yes, sir.
So how
I'll
that
tell you.
come out? Yeah.
Yes, sir. I'll tell you the story, man. So it actually was Slim's fault. So as to why we don't have a song from Babyface, well, at that time or whatever. Like, but so this is what it was. So in actuality, it was more of a budget thing on our end. Like, we actually went to him at the tail end of our project, our first album, and the budget just wasn't there. But it was that in addition to the fact that, so we went to this man's house in LA, and it was us, our management, and Puff. We were going there and keep in mind, this is around the same time that Waiting to Excel was out. So all of those records, all of those big records, like to this day, I can listen to that album from beginning to end. And so you got Whitney Houston, Boys to Men, you got all these different artists on this one album, and it was just just amazing, bro. So we were like, bro, that nothing was solidified 112 better as far as being that new R&B group than to have a record by Babyface, right? So we got our speeches ready and everything. How we gonna just tell this man how his music was so influential? Slim, you gonna sing some of his records because he was a Babyface. He is a Babyface fan and actually grew up singing a Babyface record. So we like, man, we got this, bro. We got this. We're gonna get a record. We're gonna get like 2-3 records from this nigga. You know what I mean? We go into this man's house, and keep in mind, it was raining prior to now. It never rains in Southern California, but let 112 fly up in there, and it rains profusely, right? We get in this man's house, and Slim tracked mud on this man's white. I don't know if it was alpaca. I don't know if it was llama. I don't know what kind of expensive animal fur that was, but it was. You could tell by the way that the hair laid on that thing, it was expensive as all get out. That man tracked mud all on that man rug, bro. And
I know y'all was hot.
Hey, he kept it cool though. He kept it cool as all get out, man. But we went back to New York, and I'm pretty sure that he put an extra $100,000 on that thing on top of the price, bro, just because of that rug, man. And so, but we then all jokes aside, man, like, but that did happen. But all jokes aside, it was because of the budget, man. Like, the amount of money that he was asking for, we just didn't have in the budget. So we were like, but we were still on that Babyface, energy, whatever. So I think it might have been Deron. It was like, man, we can do that, man. We can make a Babyface record. And we all was like, okay, if you believe it, then let's do it. And Cupid came from that. Like it's not bar for bar, but When Can I See You Again was the inspiration for Cupid. Like it's similar. It's not exactly like I said bar for bar, but it's similar. And that's what we just kept listening to the mechanics of When Can I See You Again. Like with him, it had you had a simple drum, kick drum, and a guitar. So that's where if you listen to, it's only like 5 instruments on Cupid. Like it's a guitar, kick, snare. It's not even a bass on there with and some keys. Yeah, so that's basically the inspiration where we got set for Cupid or whatever. But so we took a situation. Life gave us lemons. We made lemonade and we put vodka in it. So that's what made Cupid, bro. But so that's where Cupid came from. So it turned out pretty well.
Yeah, I tell you, man, that was a banger, man. Yeah, I mean for that song to ran for like almost 2 years. Back then when BET MTV was only marketing music video before the whole reality show thing started to progress and everything. And I tell you, I mean, there were cats in my school that try to sing that song like, brother, man. Even Chartown Apollo wouldn't even approve y'all to even sing on stage. Just go call a name, player. What I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's not for the faint of heart, man. But with social media now, we're seeing a lot of these kids growing up now singing, going back and singing Cupid, man, and I think that's really awesome because I didn't think that a lot of these younger artists was even listening to our music back in the day, but come to find out, man, that there's a real fan base in the youth for 112, and that's an amazing thing.
Yeah, absolutely, and stuff, man. I like the video concept of it, man. I thought it was dope, what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
Especially back then with like the whole like was it like digital videos will start to really become more advanced thanks to Michael Jackson and stuff like
Yes,
that,
sir. Yep, yep, yep,
man,
yep.
and you don't see that, man. We hear this, like got classy ladies and you brothers being classy at that time, man. You don't see videos like that anymore, you know what I'm saying? And
No,
stuff,
sir.
man.
No,
Now,
sir.
from there, um, I'll be missing you. You
Uh-huh.
guys want to, so like you guys want to grab me and stuff. Was it? I mean, I know it was a shock, but I know back in some of you fellas here, like, dang, like we just recorded a song with Biggie, and all of a sudden now he's gone. I know that was hard to believe that, at that time. So what was like the thought process of like, it's what did you record it, but actually to shoot a video for that? As far as on the positive respect, what was your memories for Biggie just being around him?
Yeah. So when we did that record, actually that's the second record that we did as a tribute to Big when he passed. The first one, it was I Miss You, but it was the Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes. It was with
Yeah.
Teddy Pendergrass singing lead with him. So we went that route, but we felt like although it was a great song and we still put that record out, we felt like that song was a little too soulful and it was gonna go over people's heads. Like we wanted a song that universally rather, excuse me, universally would impact the world and not just a certain demographic, if you will, or
Yeah.
black folk. So we went back in and we said we love it, but it needs to be more. It needs to be bigger. It needs to have that universal appeal, and that's where the idea for "I'll Be Missing You" came, and it when you have a hit record on your hands when all the pieces fall into place,
Yeah.
just automatically. Like for us, Cupid, we knew automatically was a hit. Peaches and Cream, it fell in like once we got the concept of Peaches and Cream, it fell into place. I'll Be Missing You as soon as we went in there and every step I take, we already knew that was gonna be a hit because it was like, come on, it's Sting and the
Yeah.
Police. Like of course it's gonna be a hit. And then we just changed the lyrics up, and then Faith Evans, of course, with her beautiful voice, and everything just fell in line for it, man. So it was a very tragic situation, but that song was one of the positives that came out of that, and we've been able to eat off of that song, man, and for a minute, man, and like you said, we won our Grammy for participating on that song and being part of that record, man, and it's amazing, bro. It's unfortunate that was the reason why we had to
Yeah.
create that song, but I'm in that regard, I'm glad that we were able to give Big the send off that he deserved. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah, because if I'm not mistaken, your group and Boys to Men, I think was like the last two of like far as like the late nights to win a Grammy. If I ain't
Right,
mistaken,
right,
here they was already considered legends. You guys was like tearing up everything, what I'm saying, on
right,
radio and
right,
TV and stuff.
right,
I had to think about that. You was talking. So I think they were the last two groups and stuff. If
right.
I ain't mistaken, I could be wrong.
Yeah, yeah. I
Everything.
mean, it sounds about right, bro. Because back then, like nowadays, when you hear the Grammys or whatever, and you see these people walking away with 4 and 5 Grammys and stuff like that wasn't that wasn't the case back in the '90s, man. Not saying, and here, please understand, man. It's not me saying that they're
Right.
not deserving of however many Grammys they win nowadays and the accomplishments that they have now. But back then, it was incredibly difficult because of so many artists that were out at the same time for you to it's for you to find your niche and become something that people actually was looking forward to hearing from. That was, man, that was a task in and of itself, let alone win a Grammy, bro. So for us to have won that, like I was telling you off camera, bro, like that's our Super Bowl. That's
Yeah.
how you are identified as super successful in our world, in our music world, whatever. So just to have one, just to be nominated, bro,
Yeah.
was something amazing, man. And who would have thought, man, that four country boys from Atlanta, was able to accomplish that, man. So yeah, that was an amazing feeling. But I got a funny story for you. So if you remember, we performed at the Grammys. It was us, Sting, Faith, the choir, and Puff. And once we got off stage, we bowed and got off stage. The production company or the production team for the Grammys just ushered us back into the green room. So we're like, yeah, man, we did good, man. We killed it, high fiving the whole nine, whatever. And we waiting on Puff and Faith and everybody else to, get back in the green room so we can just talk about what just happened. Maybe even meet Sting, who knows, right? And all of a sudden, one of the production team ran back into the green room, was like, y'all got to come with me right now. You got to come with me right now. We were like, yo, what do we do? They're like, y'all won. Y'all fucking run. Y'all won a Grammy. And so we lost our minds, man. So we happy or whatever, because they never told us that, we were up for the award right after we performed. So we just sitting back in the green room doing what we're told. Like, they told us go to the green room, we go to the green room. So we're trying to run back to the stage. We're trying to run as fast as we can to get back to the stage. And Puffy and Faith, they meet us in the back. And like, so they meet us like to, right in the back, right? And Puff goes completely off on us, man. Like, he goes off. Like, y'all ruined my moment. Like, y'all ruined my moment. This was my moment. Y'all ruined it for me. I was like, bro, I wanna be upset, but we just won a Grammy, bro. So all that shit you said, like, I feel you do, but hey, man, we just won a Grammy. So we sat there and took it. We're like, yo, man, we just did what the production team told us to do. They told us go to the green room, so we went to the green room, man. Like, we didn't know, like we didn't know whatever. Yeah, man, y'all ruined it. And then he walked past and was like, but congratulations.
Ain't nobody with this moment.
Yeah, man. That was so funny, bro. But I was like, yeah, that's cool and everything, dude. But we just won a Grammy, man. So screw all that you talking about, man. Like, we won, man. So that was funny, man. It was messed up, but it was funny because it's like the one opportunity, the one Grammy that we did with, the one opportunity, like, we got screamed on in the back for something that we didn't even do. But at the end of the day, yeah, all right, that sounds crazy, bro. But I can't hear you. My Grammy's next to my ear, bro. Like, that was the energy that we had.
Oh man. So like at that time, here it is, like the first album that had its run. You guys, had success over that with a Grammy and everything. What was your thought process of making a second album, Room 112?
Honestly, man, the mentality was, we rich. So I was like, bro, we better go put on. But no, seriously, bro. Like, the second album, we were just like, we don't want to mess up, because we had in the back of our minds, and some artists, they have that sophomore jinx, moniker, there's that mind frame, and it'll mess with you. Like, for us, thank God, it didn't mess with it. It just fueled our fire. It just made us want to go harder. So we were like, bro, we're not going. It's not, I hope we don't have a sophomore jinx. We said we're not going to have the sophomore jinx, and we're going to be successful on this second album. But we did want a couple of things. We wanted to show the world that we were more mature. We wasn't those just choir boys anymore. We wasn't just the dudes in the white suits anymore. So we had matured just a little bit. And also, we wanted the world to know that not only were we artists, but we were songwriters as well. Because back then, the world believed that Puffy was the puppeteer, if you will, and we were just the marionette. We were the puppets, and we were just waiting on him to just give us directions in the studio. And you sing this, and Mike, you sing that, and Slim, you go over and you do the ad lib like this, and that wasn't the case, man. We wrote the majority of our music. Like, we did the majority of our production. We dictated how. Once we knew what we knew it. You know what I mean? And there was no reason for us to wait on anybody. We could do it ourselves and stuff. So we wanted the world to know that part. So that was one thing that we pushed for, more than anything. I'm not sure whether or not that message came across, but we felt like what we did was the right move to just let the world know, like, hey, yes, we are part of the Bad Boy family, and we will always be part of the Bad Boy family, and we are grateful that Puff, gave us the opportunity to, get out there and show y'all just how dope we are. But at the same time, we ain't just sitting around on our asses waiting on people to hand us, hit records or whatever. We're actually putting in the work as well. So that was the mentality for that Room 112 and definitely for that Part 3. But Room 112 was like, we want to, we gave the world a lot of up-tempo records on the first album. We wanted to be more R&B with Room 112. And so that was the mentality with that.
Absolutely. Man, I remember that song, Anywhere came out. My God, dude, let me tell you something, man. Anybody, man, that was legal enough, was 18 years old, you living in your parents' house, everybody got tore up, man.
Yes,
Even if
sir.
you were 15, 6 years old,
Yes,
man,
sir. Yes, sir.
a lot of men and women got, a lot of women got pregnant off that
Yes,
song,
sir.
man.
Yes, sir. But I can't tell you how many times to this day how people be like, man, y'all boy owe me child support. Hey, listen, it's not my fault you'll pull out gang week, bro. Like, that's
Man,
not my fault, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? We told you can do it anywhere, not in anybody. Like, Yes,
yeah.
sir.
Ain't nobody say, man, say slide in and keep it in there, bro. You got to slide it right out and get out,
Yeah,
man.
man, come on out of there, bro. Like we said anywhere, we ain't mean literally anywhere. You know what I'm saying? Like, pull out, bro. You know?
Yeah, man. And you know what?
Yeah.
And you guys are responsible of introducing the world to Lil Zane, in the video and stuff like that. Because I never heard of him before. And I was like, who this dude right here, man? He just came to the man, spit, a hot 16 bar and stuff like that, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And again, he's an amazing artist, bro. Like he's an amazing artist, amazing actor, just a well-rounded, just person overall as far as entertainment. He put the work in, and super intelligent dude, man. And just he was just awesome to be around. And I still look at him as little bro, and we still do some shows with him. From like on this 30th anniversary tour. I think the schedules got kind of messed up a little bit, but he definitely was slated to be on this tour. But you gotta go where that bread is, man. But yeah, Zane still is one of the dopest lyricists that I know, and I'm just forever grateful that he was able to be part of this ride with us.
Yeah, I thought it was awesome though because for Biggie, to introduce y'all, that was your record. Then y'all
Yeah,
return the favor and do it for Lil Zay. I thought that was dope. Just go show you that take
yeah,
a chance with somebody nobody never heard of. And he'd be like, you know what, this kid is dope. Man. Okay, let's go ahead and bring him on the record. And see how it goes from there.
absolutely, man. Pay that thing forward, bro.
Yeah, definitely, So here it was, the 2000s came in, R&B was slowly, changing and stuff like that. You guys put out Hot and Wet. No, but let me correct me, Part 3.
Part
So
three.
that was like the
Yes, sir.
sequel, saying Peaches and Cream. It's over now. Bangers, man. So
Dance with me.
Dance with me,
Yep. Yep.
So what was the mindset of making that sequel, come from the second album?
Um, Part 3, we was rebellious, bro, because we still felt like the world wasn't giving us enough credit as far as our careers was concerned. Again, we are forever grateful to Bad Boy and the Puff for allowing us the opportunity to get out there and sing. But we started realizing and started seeing just how people were starting to evolve into these just not artists but producers and songwriters, and we felt like we were just as talented as everybody else, and we deserved an opportunity to write songs for other artists as well. However, this is a show me industry that we're in, and if people don't see it, they're not going to go knocking on 112's door. So if there's nobody championing for 112 to get out there and write songs and produce for other artists, then nobody will, and nobody will know that we were just that talented, man. So we felt like it was if nobody else is going to speak for 112, we have to do it. And not just with our music, but just our mentality. Like we were aggressive on that third album, man. We was ready to fight everybody, bro. Like they walk in, hey guys, no, it was just that mentality because we just felt like we were being we felt like at this point we had proven ourselves that we were a group to be reckoned with, and we felt like we had enough sweat equity at Bad Boy that we could really just be known as those guys or whatever. And Bad Boy told us to our faces, y'all still got a lot to prove. And that pissed us off, man, to know, because we were like, bro, y'all ain't doing this with all these other artists. You know what I'm saying? Y'all not, beating these
Yeah.
other artists across the head like y'all beating 112 across the head. But you know what? Challenge accepted. Challenge accepted. And we put part 3 together. If you look at it, like there's a 180 going on. Because we were dancing in the first 2 albums, but we actually put 6 months worth of choreography. Let me just back up a little bit. So our day consisted of, in part 3, our day consisted of waking up, going straight to the gym from 9 until about noon. From 9 so at noon, we would go to rehearsal, and we would stay there until 8 o'clock.
Wow.
And this is after all the studio we put in. So we recorded the album. We were still recording at this time too. So if there was a record, of course we would, adjust the schedule accordingly. But for the most part, for 6 months, it was wake up, go to the gym, go to rehearsal, stay there from 12 to 8, rinse and repeat. We did that for 8 years, bro. I mean, what am I talking about? 8 years. We did that for like 6 to 8 months. And
Wow.
yeah, man. And as a result, you see the fruits of the labor when we did It's Over Now, and how we came out with a bang, because we felt like, okay, what's the next evolution of 112? Like, we sang all these songs and people know that we can all sing. What's gonna give us longevity? What's gonna make us live long in this music industry? And we just went back to our roots and just started doing the research, and what we found was people loved us singing wise, but as far as entertainers, they still wasn't sure, were we entertainers? So we started looking at a lot of Michael Jackson. We started looking at a lot of James Brown, and we landed on New Edition. We landed on their way of doing, because Michael is one of one. What is Sui Generis? Yeah, he's one of one. Just like James Brown is one of one. And we couldn't do it like that because it was 4 of us, and 2 of us had 9 left feet, so it wasn't gonna work like that. So we had to figure out what worked for us, and it was a derivative of New Edition. And so we started looking at all of those New Edition records. If It Is in Love, we learned the choreography for that, just so we could know what it means. And we got with the people that actually put the choreography together, i.e. Brooke Payne and Leon, Leon Lee. We actually got with those guys who actually put the choreography together. And then once we learned the New Edition, we had to take it a step further and what works for 112. And that's when we got with Divine Stevens and Al Jamal Jones and AJ. And they were the one that gave us that swag that you saw on It's Over Now. So it wasn't just one stop shop. It wasn't just one choreographer. It was a culmination of all that different, energies, from, the old school having clean lines and your hands and your thumbs being in when you do your dance. We got all that from Brooke Payne, and then the swag we got from Divine Stevens and Al Jamal and and AJ, and that's, it was just all a culmination. All of that was a culmination, and that's what made the 112 dance look. So, because we wanted to be entertainers, we wanted to be more than just standing on the stage singing. We wanted to be those guys. We wanted a 30-year career, 30, 40, 50-year career. And that was one of the key elements that we were lacking. And then that's where it all came from, man. So it was a lot of hard work, bro. It was 6 months of just waking up, going to the gym, going straight to rehearsal, rinse and repeat. No life.
Man,
and I would do it again.
dedication.
I would do it again.
That's what you call true, showmanship. Saying definitely dedication.
Yes, sir.
And stuff. Yeah, man. I tell you, man, those hits, those videos, man. Y'all was killing One Central Park, man. With one of the top last countdown videos and stuff, man. Like nobody could not escape. Like, it didn't matter who was hot. At that time, man, y'all guys were just burning every single thing. Number 1 for 30 weeks on the countdown. He had MTV TRL and everything, man. I remember going to the clubs and in time strip clubs, man. Y'all videos, man, was like staying in the rotation, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
And I'm like, good Lord, man. That's what you call, man, people rocking what you guys doing. Uh, after say go from there to Hot and Wet, so
Mhm.
what was the direction going on that album in 2003?
Well, it was a lot going on with Hot and Wet, man, because that's when we decided to leave Bad Boy and go to Def Jam. Um, but we still had a collaboration going on with the two labels because we still had love for Bad Boy, we still had love for Puff, and we just did not want the world to look at it like here's this big mogul of a company that's this big machine of a company rather coming in and taking this boutique labels one of its premier acts or whatever. So we didn't want to leave that impression. We felt like it was time for us to leave, but at the same time, our hearts were still there because that's the only home that we knew. But we felt like we couldn't grow anymore being that Bad Boy the way that it was constructed at that time. So we had to make a move and get up out of there. So it was a lot of going. That was a lot of emotional stuff going on at that point, and just trying to get our bearings with Def Jam, because that was a whole different machine, and they weren't as personable. They wasn't as hands on as Bad Boy was with us. And honestly, man, part uh part three was like super focused, but Hot
Yeah.
and Wet we wasn't as focused on Hot and Wet. We just put it like this: the Red Album come out right after um, Part Three, the trajectory would have just been skyrocketed, and but
Right.
it didn't, and it that's neither here nor there. But Hot and Wet, it played its part, and it still went platinum, and but that was more of the fan base just loving us, and not necessarily the body of work. And I'll be the first one to admit that, man. Like that was not our best body of work. That's my least favorite album out of all of our albums.
Yeah.
And because we weren't focused, and I'll be the first one to tell you that we were not focused at all. We had gotten so much money that we just on some real shit, man. We just really lost our minds, bro. Like collectively lost our minds.
Right.
And we put an album together, but it wasn't what Def Jam had signed up for. It wasn't what Bad Boy had signed up for, and it wasn't what we signed up for. So it took for that to happen, and for us to get the negative energy as well. Like because we had negative energy before on the projects, but not like to this scale, man. Like almost like people were doubting our ability to can they still do it? Can they make this happen? And we just had to prove to ourselves, not even the world, we had to prove to ourselves that we were still those artists that you grew and loved, and that's where Pleasure and Pain came in. So the name of Pleasure and Pain, the album came from one that the song on the first album, but two, we wanted the world to know that we had gone through a lot of pain in order to get to that pleasure, which is put this album out. For because we had gone through it, man. Def Jam was talking about letting us go. If we didn't come up with we didn't have a hit album, Pleasure and Pain, and so it was a lot, man. We have gone through a lot, but I will say that I love each and every one of my bodies of work because it signified a moment in time. But Hot and Wet definitely was our most lackadaisical, and it definitely was a reminder that everything can and will be taken away from you if you don't stay focused. Because while you walking, somebody else is running. And then so we just refocused, man, and got back in the gym and got back with the choreographers and just put another album together, and that's where Pleasure and Pain came from, and it was almost a redemption, if you will. It was almost a validation and us putting that album together, man. So we felt really good about Pleasure and Pain.
Yeah, that was a great album, Pleasure Paid and stuff. And you one of the top artists that legends that have interviewed to actually admit that, we have some damn good albums, but the one album we made, man, that wasn't what we thought, so we could do better than that, especially by us all over the place, what I'm saying?
Absolutely,
And he just
absolutely,
can't just
bro.
record just any song, think it's gonna be a hit. It doesn't work like that,
We actually thought that, man. We actually thought that on part on Hot and Wet, man. And I'll be the first. Like again, I'll be the first one to admit it. But it's like, bro, listen to it. You know that if you listen to the other three prior to, you can listen to that and tell, man, that we wasn't focused. You know what I mean? So if we be playing ourselves if we admitted that we put we be lying, honestly, if we said we put the same amount of energy and sweat equity into that project that we did with those for the prior three albums, man. So I'll be the first one to admit that, man. Hot and Wet was not our best music, and but it was an important album for us because it reminded us that it can be taken away from y'all if you don't put in that work. And then that it really scared us, to the point where we like,
Yeah.
well, we got to get our shit together, man. And that's where Pleasure and Pain came in, and we felt like we felt validated. We felt like we were back. We felt redemption.
Yeah, because for me, from a fan perspective, the Hot and Wet album, I could tell there was like a whole different shift change. So like
Yeah, man.
like your
Yeah,
energy was off. I think that's what
yeah,
BT used to have, like the was it access granted,
yeah.
and
Actually,
I
yeah, yeah.
remember,
Yep.
and I was like, man, is it me, man? I said like the whole vibe is different, but looking back at it now, that makes sense and everything.
Yeah,
Pleasure
man. Like,
Pain,
uh, people wanted to blame Def Jam and the change over. Nah, that was us, man. Like I'll be man enough to I'm man enough to admit when I was out of pocket and I was the dude that kept everybody in line. So for me not to be in pocket, that was that was unacceptable for me.
absolutely. Yeah. I remember when you guys dropped Pleasure and Pain, and I was like, yo, I gotta get it. So I remember I was going to I was at Best Buy and stuff, and I was like, yo, I gotta get this album, man. When it felt like fresh air when I heard that album, you know what I'm saying? Because it might be of the
Uh-huh.
first three projects and stuff and everything. And I thought to myself, I say, coming from, and I was an artist once upon a time, when you have a flat project, like, nah, man, like, let me run it back, man. I'm over here
Right.
tripping. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly, bro. And that's exactly what it was. We got to run this back, bro. Like this is not how we're going to go out.
Yeah, absolutely. Now after 2005, you guys were kind of like on a hiatus and stuff. I remember when Slim put out, his record, saying, in '07, So Fly, that was like a hot record. What was your mindset at, when you guys took a break, as far as the record as a group?
Um, Honestly, bro, like that's a nice way to put it. The group broke up. That was really what it was, man. And that's that, and it was unfortunate because people were letting outside influences, cloud their minds, and it should have just been the four of us still focused on just the music, and that was not the case anymore. And but at the same time, who am I to tell a grown man, how to live his life? Like people, started getting married and started focusing more on things outside of just the four of us and a microphone. So it was and not blaming marriage. Let me not paint that picture like people thinking that I don't want people thinking that I'm throwing shade and no shit like that. But that was one of the things that we felt like was being prioritized over the betterment of 112 and the evolution of 112. And I can't, I can't even really be mad at it because people, we grow up and we grow out. Everybody's level of dedication and what they're able to do is going to be different as you have more responsibility, you become a man and a for real man with kids and mortgages and all this other. You start making decisions and whatnot, bro. So but I will say that how we handled it was not the best way, and it never was. And I always felt like if we were going to break up, then we at least allow we owe it to our fan base to at least give them one more run with all four of us on stage, just giving it our all, and then letting the world know like, hey, we're going to take a break, and we like how Destiny's Child did it,
Yeah.
at Destiny's Child, I'm sorry, how they did it, and they got they got a standing note, on the way out the
Yeah.
door. You know what I mean? So nobody was really upset with how they left, and it's set up for Kelly to go do her thing and Michelle to go do her thing and Beyonce to definitely go do her thing, man. So I just wish that we had enough sense as a unit to do it that way, but it didn't happen that way, and we can't harp on that, but that was a nice way of putting it, man. But honestly, the group had broken up, and like you said, Slim, he went out and did his solo project, and we all did solo projects at that point. And it was was cool for me to do that because I needed to see who I was outside of Deron Q and Slim. You know, I needed to see who I was as an individual and musically who I was. And I was hoping that we were going to get something like how the Beatles were, you know, how
Yeah.
Paul McCartney is his own and John Lennon was his own and George and Ringo. You know, but it didn't work out like that. And but I am forever grateful for that as well. You know, there's a blessing in every lesson, man, and I'm just glad that I was able to create the body of work that I did, and because it showed me that I was capable of standing on my own. You know what I mean? And so
Yeah.
that's what. But it was crazy. This is at that point, man. 20 years, you know, almost 20 years of just rocking out with these dudes, and it was gone like that, man. So that's a mind fuck for you, bro. Like that's crazy to be doing it one way for almost 20 years, and then you know now it's just gone like that. It was crazy, but yeah, yeah. But it like again, it was a blessing in every lesson, and I'm glad that I was able to navigate out of that and realize to myself, not only to the world but to myself, that I was capable of being a musician and stand on my own.
Absolutely. 2017, you guys, dropped the album Q, Mike, Slim and Deron and
Yes,
stuff.
sir.
And I remember, the day one fans, man, was like posting your album everywhere, you know what I'm saying? And the first single
Yes,
came
sir.
out and everything. And usually sometimes, when some people are gone for that long, it's like, okay, if we're gonna come back, we gotta get it right on how we left it last time.
Mhm.
People had that scratching in us and stuff like that. So what was the mindset of creating that album?
To really, man, just no gimmicks, no magic tricks, no nothing crazy, man. Just flat out sing, man. That was
Yeah.
the mentality for that Red album. Just to sing, just to remind everybody and to let the world know that the people that did know and remind them that we were four lead singers. You know, the group was four lead singers. And we set, and I felt like we accomplished that, and we set out to do that, and I feel like we accomplished that goal on that project, man. But yeah, that was the overall goal. It's like, man, listen, let's just break it down to, the id of what it means to be in 112, and that is you put a microphone in front of us, we could sing from sun up to sundown. And
Yeah.
that was the mentality, man. Just remind the world that we can sing, man. And we definitely, pulled that off. There was some turbulence in there as well.
Yeah.
But that's life, man, and it does happen. Like even within that turbulence, we still was able to put out an amazing album. I love that album. And it's one of my favorite albums because I don't feel like, and people argue with me again as if I wasn't there, but I feel like vocally, and that understand my word now, understand what I'm saying. Vocally, that was one of the better performances that we had as a whole. Now, let me say that one more time for the people in back because people are like, because that first album. Now, I'm not saying that we didn't do well on those other albums, but what I'm saying is, as a whole, vocally, the Red album to me is the better vocally sounding album because all of us are singing to our potential at this point.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
gotta
Because I
make
mean,
sure I say that, bro, because it's been
yeah.
plenty of time where I explained that, and bro, and they wanted to burn my house down, bro, because I said that. And I'm like, no, listen to what I just said. So I'm just, just make sure I preface that and just make sure I say, just say that with some being concise as I possibly can, bro. I'm talking about vocally as a
Right.
unit, not just
I get it.
Slim did his thing, Q did his thing, Mike did his thing, Deron did. No, we all collectively, vocally, this was like the best album to me.
Yeah, I could definitely respect that. I definitely know what you mean on that one, and stuff. And that's just because when I saw it, I said, man, you guys sound smooth, man. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? And
Yeah,
stuff.
bro.
Because when you're a judgment of your own, how you was when you was a young man to where you are now, like, wow, man, I sound way better than I did in my early
Yeah.
beginnings of my career. So that's saying a
Absolutely.
lot for yourself and everything.
Absolutely, man. I tell people now, man, I'm a better singer now than I was back then in my 20s, only because I can't do a whole lot of the things that I used to be able to do vocally. I just can't. If you 30 years of singing, like singing your heart out every night, not sleeping, and you put a strain on your voice. So I'm a better singer now because I know what I'm doing. Back then, I was just singing for singing's sake. I know what
Yeah.
I'm doing now, so I'm a better singer. Like I sounded better back then, but I'm a better singer now.
Wow. Man, that's saying a lot right there. I want to give you and Slim your flowers though, because you guys carry the legacy of 112, you know what I'm saying? And I tell you, for you fellas to put the work in, then I say, all four collectively. But as far as like, you and Slim, for you guys to, start out as young man, to,
Mhm.
bless the world with the hits you guys have, the music videos, the sold out shows, the epic television, TV person, still kicking butt to this day, you know what I'm saying?
Mhm. Mhm.
You some artists use some artists when they still when they come back or they, perform, it's like, yeah, that brother or this sister needs a couple tune ups.
Right.
Saying to finally get it
Right.
together. But
Right.
for you guys to really, it's like you guys never left. You guys have stayed in the surface, you know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
And then when it comes to R&B conversation, like, man, like who was the greatest group, for the 90s? And I know for a fact, come from me, you fellas always mention that conversation, of the songs, the sets and everything, man. So I want to give you flowers. I hope that 112s get a Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Because people still play y'all music, man. You know what I'm saying? Like it just came out.
Well, that's one of the goals, man, and that was always a goal of ours to be in the just the validation and the acclamation, from our peers is what we wanted. Like we just wanted to be notorious, bro. Like we wanted to just be known for singing. Like we wanted to when I look on social media now and people debate, is it us or whomever, and I like that. I don't like the division aspect of because I believe that we can all appreciate everybody's music, but I do love the fact that people are talking about us in those veins of that was my group that I grew up listening to. That's my new addition. That's my Boys to Men. That's my Jodeci. And so I feel accomplished when I see those debates and healthy debates and conversations that people have on social media and wherever else, man. Because it just lets us know that we wasn't just out there for nothing. People really was paying attention to our music and really loving our music and we really made an impact on people's lives, man. So that was always the goal, man. Like just to make an impact. We knew that the money and all that stuff would come if we just make an impact on these people's lives, and I feel like we accomplished that. And to this day, is still doing it, man. Like you said, it's like we still saying like, "Hey, bro, like this is our last show tomorrow." Like that, but we're just super competitive, and it's just you just can't tell us we can't do something, man. They're like, oh shit, I can't do what? All right, bro, bet let's sing. I'm gonna sing this whole album, from the top, and that's just our mentality, man. So I'm not surprised that Slim and I still have that sound because honestly, bro, like we just never stop singing. We just never stop singing because that's what we do, bro. Like I go order some food, from Chick-fil-A or something like that, and still be like, "Let me get on number one." Just still just messing with people, man. Lemonade, like I'm just always singing, bro. So that is I was put on this planet to sing.
Man, God is good, man. Yeah, God
Yeah,
definitely
all the
bless
time.
you. I tell you, man, there's some people that brags, but with God, plant these seeds, for a reason, say, what's meant to be, what I'm saying? And I feel
Yes,
like
sir.
your story, Slim story, the legacy of 112 is still ready, you know what I'm saying?
Yes,
And I
sir.
feel like there's more blessings that's coming on the way, that's, what I'm saying? Real
I
talk.
appreciate that.
But before we wrap it up, what's next for 112?
So we just got off our 30th. Slim and I just got off our 30th anniversary tour, and that was a huge success. Big shout out to Live Nation for partnering up with us and making that happen. We have a possible residency. I don't want to jinx it because it's not it's not in ink yet. The ink's not dry on the deal yet, so I don't want to speak on that. But there is a possibility of a residency in Vegas and for 4 months, and we're excited about that. And of course that can continue on whatever. The way that we're going to do it is going to be incredible if we can pull it off. And I don't, what, that's a non-power word. When we pull it off, it's gonna be amazing, man. Because we're gonna give you something a little different than just your average normal R&B concert, and so I'm excited about that. There is a possible tour going on with Live Nation in the fall. We're still in talks with the artists, but they're familiar people, man, and I promise you, you will love us for putting this album together. and so we're just excited about that. We just got to make sure that we just stay low, don't talk no politics, and don't mess this tour up. You know what I'm saying? And don't mess it up for nobody, man, because it's a lot of people that are counting on us to put this tour together, man. So we're excited. We're excited for the opportunity, but it's two possible things that are going to tour in the fall, and then this residency that should be coming up soon, man. So fingers crossed on both of those. But yeah, that's what's going on with Once Well.
Man, so with that being said, I want to thank everybody for tuning in, leaving the comments on here and stuff. I got them all highlight on the screen and stuff like that. Man, big shout out to V's Vision, the PR. Big shout out to Keith R&B. Saying get it set up. Big shout out to K Bookman. Saying. You guys can share it once the interview is over with. And thank you, my brother, for taking the time of coming on here, man.
Absolutely,
to me,
bro. It's been a pleasure.
You guys, are like, for you guys to, be part of the 90s, man. I mean, so many groups, man. I mean, you guys up with me, with you, High Five, and, Jagged Edge. I mean, the list goes on, man. We be here all night talking about that and stuff, But with that being said, you have a blessed one. And on that note, we out of here.
Hey, bro, I appreciate you.
Well, you got it, brother.
Yes, sir.